Located between Sarasota and Fort Myers are some of the best beaches of Florida you may not have heard of, from Venice, Manasota, to BOCA GRANDE and Port Charlotte. Narrow barrier islands between the Intracoastal Waterway and the warm waters of the Gulf make this part of Florida's west coast some of the best nature getaways in the state. However, it is those same warm waters that also make this area vulnerable to the ugly side of nature.
Hurricane Helene came, bringing the area an estimated 6 to 8 feet of storm surge, breaking not one, but both fishing piers at Bayshore Park into pieces.
And while people were still cleaning up after Helene, a week later, Milton was heading towards Tampa Bay.
There was a wobble of this storm to the southeast. How many times as Floridians have we seen that happen?
Good for Tampa, not so good for Venice, Manasota Key, and BOCA GRANDE.
And as far south, it looks like the Charlotte County area near Venice, Sarasota, in that general vicinity, like we've been talking about.
Cat 3 major hurricane has made landfall at Siesta Key.
With another 8 feet of storm surge, it made just about every home on Manasota Key unlivable. The most catastrophic destruction from Milton was here. Many homes lifted off their foundations and moved several feet. It truly looked like a war zone. One of the most gorgeous Gulfside drives, Manasota Key Road, with mangled up asphalt. Now, several months later, many of the restaurants and beaches have reopened, and the wildlife, along with the tourists, have returned. While yes, a lot was lost, and you feel for the struggle many families have had to fight through. But through it all, people have come together to help each other and working hard to getting businesses back open. The beaches looking as beautiful as ever. In this video, we'll start with South Sarasota County on North Jetty Park. We'll show you many of the restaurants in downtown Venice, Centennial Park, and travel along the coastline, taking you to the Venice Pier and Brohard Park. We'll give you an update on Caspersen Beach, bike around the Shamrock Nature Center. We'll take you to all the beaches of Manasota Key, from Manasota Beach to Pass Bch, giving you an update on Englewood Bch and Stump Pass State Park, which was cut in half by the hurricane, forming the new Milton Pass. We'll show several waterside eateries and beach bars, traveling down the coast to BOCA GRANDE, along the causeway to Gasparilla Island, showing some scenic sandbars in Little Gasparilla Island. We'll tour downtown BOCA GRANDE, showing a couple of resorts and giving you updates on Gasparilla Island State Park. We head a little inland to Charlotte Harbor, showing the new Sunseeker Resort and a variety of boat tours you can take. And ending our video in Punta Gorda on the Peace River, showing Fisherman's Village full of shops and great waterside dining. We've shown the coastal areas of Tampa Bay, Anna Maria Island, Sarasota, Siesta Key Beach. Next, we'll show Fort Myers. But now, we take you to what I think are the most beautiful waterways of Florida: Venice, Manasota Key, BOCA GRANDE, and Charlotte Harbor. We do travel videos across the USA, but this year are focusing a lot on Florida and Southeast US. I try to give you lots of good info, posting a full feature every 2 weeks, and shorts in between. Subscribe and click the notification bell to see all of that. You may want to sign up for a channel membership. We often show more footage of some of these areas, and you'll see segments of our videos before they are posted. It's very inexpensive at $3 a month. This, as well as super chats, help us to cover some of the expenses in making these videos. It's sunrise on the Peace River in Punta Gorda. This is where we'll come back to at the end of our video.
Good morning. Have a good one, hon.
After picking up a latte, we're going to start where we left off in our Siesta Key travel guide at Nokomis Beach with some good news. North Jetty Beach Park is fully open. Nokomis, in my opinion, is one of the best beaches in Florida. You have the main beach just north of North Jetty Beach Park. This area is great for viewing boats coming in and out of Venice Pass. This is the Key's Hookah Dive, which offers 3 to 4 hour boat tours that include snorkeling and diving. They are $99 if you want to snorkel, or $199 for a hookah dive, which is a more simpler scuba dive, which is closer to the surface. You don't wear as much gear. This jetty is great for fishing, and dogs are allowed here. While yes, the old North Jetty fish camp that you see here in our 2023 video was wiped away by the hurricanes. However, there is now the North Jetty Grill, which has a much larger menu for food and drinks, so I would say it is even better. Met these nice people visiting from Michigan, go Blue. And there's a playground here for kids. There's jetty rentals for kayak and paddleboards. For 2 hours, it is $35 for a single, $45 for a double kayak, and $50 for a paddleboard. You can paddle out to Snake Island here, which is popular for boaters too. It's a different story across the pass. This is Venice, where the South Jetty Humphreys Park is at. Unfortunately, the seawall sustained major damage, and it could take a couple of years to repair. We'll catch up to the coastline in a bit, but for now, I'm going to take you to downtown Venice. Just over the Albee Road drawbridge is the Pelican Alley Restaurant, an excellent place to view the sunset with waterside dining. US 41 here, crossing over Roberts Bay into Venice. Way out there is Nokomis Beach, where we were just at. Now here is another waterside restaurant, the Dockside Waterfront Grill, with dining under a large tiki hut. Venice was named after the famous city in Italy. In 1960, they created this large canal that surrounds the city, starts at Roberts Bay, and comes out near the Gulf at Caspersen Beach, we'll show later. You can see downtown Venice in relation to Nokomis Beach and Venice Pass here. In the center of downtown is Centennial Park. There's a gazebo with live music. Sometimes in the evenings, people will set up lawn chairs on the grass to enjoy. There's also restrooms, benches, tables, and a water fountain around the park. But something is missing. Where's Vanessa? One of the mermaids I had lunch with in 2023. Well, shortly after that, the mermaid sculptures were auctioned off. Shameful. By the way, that salad was from Seed and Bean Market, a good farm-to-table eatery. You also have several restaurants with sidewalk seating surrounding Centennial Park. There's the Casariano Italian Eatery with Italian fare and wine. Further down West Venice Avenue is another Italian restaurant, San Marco of Venice. You also have TJ Carney's, an old-school bar and grill with live music and karaoke. And Made in Italy with wood-fired pies and other Italian eats. The Venice Theater for concerts and Broadway shows. And there's the popular Daiquiri Deck, a small chain with seafood and creative daiquiris. Parking is free in downtown as well as in all the beaches in Venice. While Venice was named after the city in Italy, it also has some similarities to the beach in California with its tall palm trees. You don't usually see palm trees this high in Florida. A gorgeous half-mile linear park lies in the middle of West Venice Avenue from Centennial Park to where it dead ends at Venice Beach. This beach is a mile from the South Jetty. There's a bigger parking lot on the north side and a smaller parking lot on the south side. Here there's a large sail pavilion with concessions and modern restroom facilities. Venice has a large elderly population, so you'll find their beaches very handicap accessible. There's beach wheelchairs available free of charge from the lifeguard towers. Also scenic boardwalks to the sand. Sunny Days provides beach lounger rentals, and they will set up the chairs for you at all the beaches we'll cover in this video. These beaches along Venice are home to a large number of marine turtle nests between the months of May and October. A couple of miles down the coast from Venice Beach is the Venice Fishing Pier. There's no charge to walk the pier or fish from the pier. It's open 24 hours a day. It's very wide. At 20 feet high, it gives you a good view of the beach and lots of pelicans. There's a bait shop midway down the pier. It's 720 feet long, although the very end is closed off. It did pretty good through the hurricanes, except the railings on the very end are still being repaired. Sharky's on the Pier, a lively seafood restaurant with fruity drinks from its tiki bar. There's an elevated deck for dining, giving guests a great view of the pier and sunsets. And just a quarter mile south of the pier is Brohard Paw Park. In the park, a fenced-in area for big dogs and small dogs, as well as separate walkways out to the beach. This is one of the best dog beaches in Florida, with dog wash areas. Lucy the poodle here really loved Bailey. In the south end of Venice is Caspersen Beach, which is a popular spot for shark teeth. It had significant damage to Harbor Drive South, the road that leads up to the park. It is the only Sarasota County beach not at least partially reopened yet. Across the canal is Shamrock Park and Nature Center. This is a scrub habitat with gopher tortoises. There's a 2.3-mile interpretive paved trail that winds through the central part of the park and along the Intracoastal Waterway. It connects with the Venetian Waterway Trail, which runs along the canal around Venice and connects to the 11-mile Legacy Trail to Sarasota. Caspersen Beach eventually turns into Manasota Key, but the roads don't connect, even before the hurricanes. So it's about a 10-mile drive around the mainland to Englewood, Florida, and back to the coast to Manasota Key Beach. On the left is a boat ramp and kayak launch, and on the right a large parking lot. During the spring, you'll definitely want to come early to find a spot. This is the northernmost of 4 main public beaches of Manasota Key. One of the nice things about this beach is there's lots of tropical foliage in the park area with picnic pavilions under palm trees. There's full restroom facilities with outdoor showers, but you have to bring your own food and loungers as there's no concessions nor restaurants close by. Now the beach area is a mixture of sand and shells, so good to have beach shoes or flip-flops. This is a good place for shelling or finding shark teeth. As we continue down Manasota Key Road, before the hurricanes, you could drive the 3.5 miles from Manasota Key Beach to Blind Pass Beach. But this is where you'll see most of the damage from the hurricanes. Homes just looking like they were hit by a bomb. You see the destruction that 8 feet of storm surge and the wind damage of a Cat 3 hurricane can cause, with winds of 120 miles per hour. Some homes were completely wiped away. You can see here where Manasota Key Road just ends, about a mile from Blind Pass Beach. Sarasota County just approved a temporary road to be built here, estimated to be completed in July or August of 2025. So for now, we have to go around the mainland to reach Blind Pass Beach. Now, 3 miles from the coast, Blind Pass Beach is way out there. On the way there, there's a great restaurant recommended by our subscribers Lori and Mark, who are experts on waterside dining. It's Farlow's on the Water, sits on Angel Creek. They have a sheltered open-air patio for dining, or you can dine right on the docks. I'm having something simple, their black grouper tacos. They have a real creative menu with some good stuff. Angel Creek surrounds Englewood and gives easy access by boat to Lemon Bay and the Barrier Islands. We take Beach Road across Lemon Bay. It dead ends at Englewood Beach, which we'll come back to, but we head north 3 miles to Blind Pass Beach. This is the southernmost beach of Sarasota County. Across the road on the bay side is a trail through a mangrove forest and a fishing dock with canoe launches. Again, in the spring, parking fills up early. I'd recommend arriving by 9 or 10. There's lots of tropical foliage, some of it a little thinned out from the hurricanes. There's restrooms, picnic shelters, and outdoor showers, but again, no concessions for food or lounger rentals. This is another good beach for shelling. However, unlike Manasota Beach, you can walk around here barefooted comfortably, not as full as shells. Now there's another Blind Pass Beach on Sanibel Island we'll see next week in our Fort Myers video, so not to be confused with that beach. We head south back to Englewood Beach. It is here we cross into Charlotte County. After the hurricanes, there was a massive pile of sand. They called it Mount Milton here. There was significant damage to the boardwalk. This beach has a super long boardwalk, so a lot of it has to be repaired. At the time of this filming, the beach was closed. However, as I'm editing this, it has partially reopened. The southern entrance is now open, providing pedestrian access to the beach. You have several restaurants across the street. There's the Waverly, a seafood restaurant with a lower patio and upper deck for golf side views, and next door, the Lock and Key with live music and lots of seafood. And there's the Sandbar Tiki and Grill with live music every day. You can dine on the beach under a large tiki hut or right on the docks overlooking the bay. We head further down towards Stump Pass Bch State Park. This is where a lot of the resorts and vacation rentals are. Some quaint cottages here by Shorebirds Beach Cottages. There's Manasota Key Resort with lodging both on the golf side and on the bay side. They have kayaks, paddleboards, bikes, and pickleball, shuffleboard, and basketball courts. You can book at booking.com. Stump Pass Bch State Park is at the south end of Manasota Key and is still closed. The park was cut in half by Hurricane Milton, and it created a new inlet named Milton Pass. You can see here what it looked like before the hurricanes, and now the new pass. Also, notice how a lot of the greenery was washed out as well. The majority of the state park is on the other side of Milton Pass, so unless the inlet gets filled back in with land, the only way you'll be able to access most of the park will be by boat. This is Sol Vibe Beach Charters with a 2-hour dolphin, sandbar, and sunset tours around Manasota Key. They are $40 to $50 per person. And there's also Englewood Parasailing, which is $99, and you get 12 to 14 minutes in the air. And further down from Milton Pass is Stump Pass. This inlet separates Manasota Key with Knight Island, which is really part of Little Gasparilla Island, an island you can access only by ferry. This pass is about 50 miles south of the Venice Pass we showed earlier, and about 12 miles to the north of Gasparilla Pass we'll show in a bit. So a lot of the boats use this pass to access the Gulf. Again, we have to go around the mainland, so we go back across Lemon Bay on the Tom Adams Bridge. On this side of the bridge is Beach Road Water Sports for jet skis, pontoons, and kayak rentals. Heading south on Placida Road, crossing Angel Creek. There's another tiki bar and grill here. At the backyard at Skip's Marina. Lemon Bay is part of the huge Charlotte Harbor Aquatic Preserve. It stretches all the way down to San Carlos Bay. We'll see it in the Fort Myers video next week. There's the Angel Creek Park boat ramp here, just downstream from Farlow's on the Water we showed earlier. This is Cedar Environmental Park. And in the upper left, Stump's Pass. And just across from the pass is Stump's Pass Marina, where the Lighthouse Grill is at, in an open-air patio with Adirondack chairs overlooking the bay. We'll cross back over the bay at the BOCA GRANDE Causeway, but at the beginning of the causeway is Placida Park Boat Ramp, and nearby on Gasparilla Road is a kayak launch and fishing pier. This is actually the far north end of the old Gasparilla Causeway Pier. Only the part north of Gasparilla Road is open. The part parallel to the causeway, over the Gasparilla Sound, is closed for renovations. This was once an old train trestle that carried phosphate and tourists to Port BOCA GRANDE. It is $6 for cars or $5.50 per axle for RVs to cross the BOCA GRANDE Causeway. You are only charged going out and not coming back. This area around the old trestle bridge is the BOCA GRANDE Sandbar, a great spot for boaters to lay anchor and enjoy the turquoise waters of the bay. On weekends and busier weekdays, you see the taco box out here, a mobile boating concession stand. This is Gasparilla Pass, which separates Little Gasparilla Island, which is only accessible by boat or ferry, and Big Gasparilla Island. There's Gasparilla boat tours with dolphin, manatee, and birdwatching trips around Manasota Key and BOCA GRANDE. For a 2-hour cruise, it is $45 for adults, $25 for children 6 and under, or a 2.5-hour sandbar cruise, another $10. The Gasparilla Island BOCA GRANDE Trail is a 6.5-mile path, was Florida's first rail trail. It follows the route of the former passenger train that first brought tourists to the island. The Gasparilla Golf Course, one of the most beautiful courses you'll find, sits on its own little island with lakes within. It is exclusive to members and guests of the Gasparilla Inn, which was one of Florida's first grand resort hotels, opening in 1913. A couple of blocks away is the Gasparilla Inn and Beach Club complex with a pool deck, food and beverage services, a family pool and lap pool. There's water slides for the kids too. And across the street, there's tennis, pickleball, and basketball courts, as well as fully equipped villas and cottages. There's also a public beach parking lot here. Park Avenue is the downtown historic district. Many of these buildings have a Key West style architecture, but certainly not the craziness of Key West, much less crowded. We continue down the island on Gilchrist Avenue. Gorgeous palms in the center of the road, joined by a canopy of oaks. On the south part of the island is the Gasparilla Island State Park. This is the sand spur lot next to the Gasparilla Island Lighthouse. It is $3 to park with an honor box, so bring cash. That is pretty reasonable and helps to maintain the beaches here. This is a working lighthouse, was relit in 2018, helps to guide ships into the Charlotte Harbor. Further down is the South Beach lot, with a bar and grill next to it. With both these lots, you want to come early as they are small lots. There's a boardwalk crossover to the beach. These beaches are good for swimming and snorkeling, and also shelling in winter months. At the very south end of Gasparilla Island is the Port BOCA GRANDE Lighthouse Museum, with a large beach area, but these are still closed as of the filming of this video, and parking still blocked off. This is BOCA GRANDE Pass here, and on the other side is Costal Island, which you could take a cruise to with Kingfisher Fleet out of Punta Gorda. We'll show later, but currently the island is still closed. And after that is North Captiva Island. We'll show in our Fort Myers video. If staying on BOCA GRANDE a few days with a family, a favorite mode of transportation is a golf cart with a nice trail that runs the length of the island. We cross back over Gasparilla Sound as we head inland to Port Charlotte. Here we cross over the Myakka River. This is a 72-mile river, flows through the Myakka State Park in Sarasota, and empties here into the massive Charlotte Harbor that has an average width of 10 miles. There's a long fishing pier along this bridge, but as you can see, it's pretty torn up, like many of the fishing piers in this area, just so battered by the hurricanes. We enter Port Charlotte, which is the spring training home of the Major League Baseball Tampa Bay Rays. We showed in our Tampa video last week, this year playing in the Yankees spring home in Tampa. Next to the stadium is the Tippecanoe Environmental Park. There are 3 trails here that lead through a habitat of oak scrub, from 1.5 miles to 2.5 miles. Not many views, but you do hear lots of birds. No dogs or bikes are allowed. In our 2020 video of Charlotte Harbor, we showed the Sunseeker Resort that was being built and struggling with funding to finish. Well, it did open in 2023, and by far the biggest resort in Port Charlotte, with a nice rooftop pool deck overlooking the Peace River. You can book on Expedia. We now cross over the Peace River on US 41, the Baron Collier Bridge. On the Port Charlotte side is Live Oak Point. Here's a little clip from our 2020 video. There are newer, modern, more durable piers. Live Oak Point on the Port Charlotte side of the river was dedicated in 2017. It has a pedestrian promenade, accent lighting, and seated areas surrounded by 26 live oak trees. Also a fishing pier that extends underneath and in between the spans of the Baron Collier Bridge. Well, Randy, Hurricanes Ian, Helene, and Milton have really ripped up those modern and durable piers. Obviously, a lot of work has to be done before it reopens. The Peace River separates Port Charlotte with Punta Gorda, runs 106 miles. Unfortunately, it has seen its share of hurricanes, the worst being a direct hit from Hurricane Charlotte in 2004, and also a lot of damage from Hurricane Ian, which devastated Fort Myers Beach. This is the Peace River Bridge, I-75, which I'm sure many of you have taken traveling from Tampa to Miami. We arrive in Punta Gorda. In the distance, TT's Tiki Bar, which we'll end the video at. But let's go to the west side of the bridge. There's a nice river walk. Punta Gorda's nicest park, Gilchrist Park, located between downtown and Fisherman's Village, normally has a large fishing pier, but that needs to be repaired. There's a gazebo, picnic pavilions, a large playground, basketball, tennis, and pickleball courts. Now, if you're looking for a good stop on your way from Tampa to Miami, try this dog-friendly Fisherman's Village here. There's a resort hotel and a little open-air shopping mall with a nice little beach area on the side. You can get coffee and ice cream at the Harborside Coffee and Creamery. There's the Village Brew House, an outside sports bar with good burgers. And at the end of the pier is Harpoon Harry's, with a pool table and air hockey. This is a relaxed, pet-friendly eatery with dining right on the deck overlooking the Peace River. And for a little more fine dining is the captain's table on the second deck. There's the Kingfisher Fleet boat tours here. We mentioned earlier, they have several different cruises, including one to Cayo Costa when it reopens, and also to BOCA GRANDE. This is their 90-minute sunset cruise over Charlotte Harbor, which is $39 for adults and $29 for children, 3 to 11. Now we take you back to the west side of the Baron Collier Bridge, Lashley Park, for a couple more boat tours. There's Red Tiki Tours, a 90-minute day cruise is $40, and a 2-hour sunset cruise is $60 per person. And there's Cruisin' Tiki Charlotte Harbor. Same rates for a public cruise, $40 for a day or $60 for sunset cruise. You can also charter the entire Tiki for $229. This Lashley Park Marina was really hit hard. Even 6 months later, you still see this boat slammed up against the docks. And the super long piers that were here are all ripped up. This is a 17-acre pet-friendly park, lots of open space, a playground for kids, interactive fountains. We end our video where we started, now with a sunset over the Peace River, at TT's Tiki Bar, a pet-friendly place with a patio right on the river. You can dine on concrete slabs under large tiki huts, or right on the beach in Adirondack chairs. I'm having a seared salmon BLT with orange cheesecake. Was very good. Highly recommend them. So, if you're looking for a Florida getaway from the more famous crowded beaches, and yet want to experience the beautiful turquoise waters of the Gulf Coast, you certainly want to check out the beaches of South Sarasota and Charlotte counties. You would be helping these business owners, the restaurants, boat tours, vacation rentals, people who have been through a lot, people who would certainly appreciate your patronage. I'd like to hear what you think in the comments below. Also, if you would post in the comments when you hear updates about this area. And I want to thank you for those signing up for channel memberships, the super chats, and all your comments, which all help to support this channel and helps to pay for the expenses of producing these videos. Thank you very much. If traveling with a dog, I highly recommend these Kurgle dog backpacks. The weather in Florida is starting to get warm, and these can save your dog from having to walk on hot asphalt. Also, they allow you to bring a dog to places where you otherwise maybe would not be able to. I put a link in the description below. I've listed all the places featured in this video in the description below, which you may want to take a screenshot of when visiting this area. I would think would be very helpful for you. We are Tampa Aerial Media. We film travel videos across the USA. For stock footage, or if you'd like to hire us to film your city, region, or vacation rental, contact me at info@tampaaerialmedia.com. Next week, we're going to show Fort Myers, which was devastated not by Milton or Helene, but Hurricane Ian a couple of years ago. We'll show the beautiful islands of Captiva and Sanibel. From Southwest Florida, I wish blessings to you wherever you may be.